Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're on the web at smartwatchticks.com. Inside this box we have, the ZEBLAZE Thor 4 Dual. You guys have all been requesting this for months now, and we are about to unbox it. A big shout out today to Sanjay. Hey, Sanjay from India. Yeah, you requested this ages ago, before anybody heard of it. I thought you had it messed up. There's no dual. There's a Pro and there's a Plus in the Thor 4. But you're right. Dual. Dual means two. Two means cameras. This watch has got them both. One in the front. Whoop. I got it upside down. Excuse me. One in the front and one on the side. And it's all in this watch, which we are unboxing right now, right before your eyes, so you can check it out. The amazing packaging, first of all, it comes in. Blue, not red. Everybody else is going with the Valentine's Day red. Hey, by the way, Valentine's Day, if you're watching this now, is coming up really soon. Time to think about a watch for your lady friend. You get her a watch, and she might get you an Android watch. You never know. Anyway, we are going to take off the TPU band from its nice little protector here. And remove that. Remove that. Slide it out from here and give you a first look at this watch after. I tell you that this is a prototype, came to us directly from AliExpress, and thank goodness. So you may have heard there have been a little bit of issues with this watch that are all straightened out now. As a result of doing a lot of systems testing. We're a little late getting this review up because of that, but now it's working perfectly. In fact, this is the best watch ever that I have reviewed, in my opinion. Wow. Anyway, AliExpress, check the show links down below to the official ZEBLAZE site. You can pick this thing up at a really special price. They gave me a special link for you guys. Inside of this 1.4-inch AMOLED screened smartwatch is it's a full Android 7.1.1. It's got that ambient display thing going, the always time display mode with the little analog watch thing on it. Doesn't even talk about that in the specs yet. 5 megapixel camera. Now we're going to come back to that. Yeah, we will. You got 3G, you got 4G, you got all this stuff going, Bluetooth, everything. Corning Gorilla Glass 4. Your standard 400 by 400 pixel screen, a gigabyte of RAM, plenty to do even offline speech to voice, voice to text, I don't know, and 16 gigabytes of memory. Yeah, the camera in here, a 530 milliamp hour battery, and so forth. These are all the languages that are supported. You have OTA upgrade. That's a big yes. Really important that this is in this watch. Going to tell you about that too here in just a minute. Okay, wow. Let's get through the box and then let's get into the details. We'll come back and look at it once we see what else we've got. We've got the little manual. Don't want to procrastinate a lot on you, but I do want to get you through the manual. One guy said, well, actually more than one, why are you showing us the stupid manual? Get on with the box. Some people are even betting when I'll actually turn the thing on. You know, it runs between 10 and 15 minutes. I know. You can watch other reviews from beginning to end in that time. But where else on the web are you going to actually see the manual? Since these things are not available for download, if you lose yours, you can't get an extra from the company. They're like impossible to come by. So the one place that I know of you can see them is right here, right now, and you can always skip through it. So there's the manual for you, and then it's in Chinese. And we also have in here, that's it too, yeah. We have a screwdriver that's currently stuck to the magnetic charger. Couple of screws, 4 no doubt, taking out the screw here for the cover for the SIM card, right? And a connector, and this is a somewhat specialized one. You're starting to see more of them. But they are somewhat unique in that it's the 4-pin magnetic coupler with a curve. Yeah, and not straight, which means putting this thing on is a bit of a challenge. It goes on this way, and it can kind of dangle with the wire this way, but I tend to loop it with the wire coming through when I charge mine, just so there's not too much stress on that. But it's a nice strong connection when you get it on there. Okay, let's talk about this thing. First of all, we're going to peel off the cover that's on it because this watch face is simulated, but it actually is a watch face on the watch. We press the upper button to turn it on, and it comes up with the ZEBLAZE logo. This watch is amazing. It actually is. We do have a front and a side camera. It talks about them being 5 megapixel, and a little bit of explanation while it's booting up that that's not totally true. Yeah. Most of the time when some of the companies profess to have 5 megapixel, they're actually 2, and then they interpolate. That means they change the number of pixel count so that when you look at the dimensions of the pictures that you take and multiply it together, they come out to 5 megapixels. It's not really. They're 2 megapixel cameras. There's only a few of them on the market that have true 5 megapixel cameras, but they don't market them as 5 megapixel cameras. They call them 8 megapixel because they interpolate to 8. Anyway, if you go to our resource center, look in the show notes at the very bottom. Watch company number 1 sponsors that, keeps it up to date, and we have a spreadsheet that shows you all of the different smartwatches in there, and one of the columns is about cameras, and it tells you which ones have the true 5 megapixel cameras. Did I just sign in? You betcha. That's notification coming because I am tethered with the WII Watch 2 app from here to my phone. And you're seeing live notifications coming through. The watch works basically like we've seen on all the other Android 5.1 watches. We're in the home screen. That's the watch face screen. I swipe down. I get this screen that tells me information about Bluetooth and SIM card if I have one in it, power level, date and time. Scroll over, you get this screen that has your silent mode, which we could go into. Wow, that's really bright, isn't it? Let's try to change the brightness right here. Let's dim it down to its lowest level. It's just about right for the video. There's middle, and then we were on bright, which washed everything out. I'm going to ride in the lowest setting. If it's too dim, we'll boop it up. All right, it's getting a little low. Let's go middle. That's your airplane mode. That's your cellular connection. When you have a SIM card in there and you connect, you can tap that. This is a 4G watch, and I got some great stuff to tell you about that too. This is location services. We may as well turn it on. That's your GPS. That'll tie into all sorts of things, mostly Google because they want to know everywhere where you are. There's the Bluetooth. That was interesting. I just got that push and I wasn't on Bluetooth. Oh well, magic's happening. And that's Wi-Fi. It must have come through on Wi-Fi, I guess. So those are all your symbols here. You're familiar with that. Over here, we've got a cleanup thing that will clean up any background stuff going on, a music player. And the last tab, okay, it hasn't updated for my location, is weather. And when you do have it, it's the ones you've seen in all the other reviews. You have centigrade and Fahrenheit weather on this screen. Okay, those are all of the top level. Come down. This way you had notifications. This way you have your app drawer. And then you have all of your different workout stuff. Then, when you go up, from the watch face, you get into the display of your step count stuff. This is your cumulative weekly results. Here's your actual today's step. We just took it out of the box, so no reports on distance or calories burned either on that. And that's the layout of the watch. Here, when we get into all of the different apps that you see, we've got the standard apps that came with it. This was fresh out of the box, so you're not going to see a lot of extra stuff in here. These are the ones that are standard for Android 7.1.1 on all of these watches. And then in here, we get to the workout stuff. And I've showed you this in other reviews, and they're all the same, that one distinction between the updated watches and the not quite updated ones has to do with the integration with GPS for an outdoor run, outdoor walk, that kind of stuff, things that involve distance over time. If it doesn't tie to GPS, you get your step count is how everything is computed. If it does, you're going to get this screen where it says it's attempting to locate the GPS for the watch, which it just found indoors. You seeing that, everybody? If you've watched for a while, you know that does not happen ever. But it locked up, got GPS, and your location icon is flashing. So if you've got a smartwatch that's got this kind of stuff, try it out and see if you get those symbols. If you don't, it means you're probably calculating your distance based on step count as opposed to actual GPS coordinates. But this one's got it, and it's fully integrated, and the GPS is hot. So it's really working well. This is like, you know, at one point I said, I will, if the perfect watch comes out, I'll just shut down this channel. I won't need it. I mean, I've been hunting for it forever, and I guess this is it. So I guess I'm going to close the channel. Nah. Are you kidding me? I'm having way too much fun. And there's a lot of other watches beside Android watches to play with. Now, granted, it's perfect except it doesn't have removable bands, and it isn't waterproof. Let's get into the rest of this. Contacts, phone, and messaging is using your SIM card, not Bluetooth tethering. Unfortunately, only watches that run Android 5.1 have the potential of doing Bluetooth calling, tethering, with a special app that has to be integrated with the firmware inside the watch. So, love it, but that's also another thing that isn't quite perfect yet about any of these Android 7 watches is the Bluetooth calling connection. But for SIM card, you can definitely do all of this stuff. You've got settings we'll come back to, your basic browser and calculator and calendar. Some folks wanted to see this. I haven't been showing it for a while. It's pretty basic. Your clock is where you do your alarms and stuff. The camera, you guys don't want to look at that, I'm sure. The gallery, you do? You want to look at the... Oh, okay, we'll come back. Music, sound recorder, file manager, you know, all of that stuff. Heart rate monitor built into it. You can activate it here. It lights up. When you got your body connected to it, it's going to give you the heart rate. And also, when you're in your sports fitness workouts and it's on your arm, it's going to be live reading your heart rate as well. And so there we go. We're getting a good reading on it. I take my finger away instantly. It goes off, so we know it's really reading your hand. That's another good sign. Your weather and voice search is tied to Google. You can do more than just search, you know. You can pretty much ask anything of Google. It's not the full assistant yet, but it is the trigger word Google that you can say and or press and activate. Your Play Store is fully functional and installed. Google Maps. Assistant now, this is the WII Wear or WII Watch 2 process that you go through for tethering. We have a video up completely about this process with this particular app, with this style of phone. Be sure to watch that if you're going to try to tether your watch to your phone. Not for phone calls, but for push notifications and everything else. When you've got it tethered, you can do remote cameras, remote music, and send files. Look at that. That's something new. Is this washing out for you guys? I'm sorry. Let's get down here and soften it. And get back in here. Assistant. And send files. You see that? You get in here. Not tethered, but if it were, I could send files back and forth. This is a way that you can get the pictures and videos you'll be taking with your cameras out of your watch and off onto your tethered phone. Then there's Find My Phone as well, or find your device, which is going to be your phone, of course. Fitness is exactly the same fitness we just saw when we scrolled over to the side. Same activities, and when you drop into any of them, it's going to take you to that same layout. So it's just a different interface to get to the same place with color screens. And your app store, we're not on the internet now, so it's not going to connect us. Wow, but it brought all the stuff in already, so I guess that's hardwired in here. You can download the basic social media programs and YouTube directly on the watch without having to be on your Wi-Fi connection or be connected through the Google Play Store to get to these, which usually you would have to do. Okay, so that covers everything except settings and the camera. Let's get back up in here to settings. I want to point out a couple of things. Well, you're not going to go through all of them. Sound is sound. That hasn't changed for years. But display has. Display, you have your brightness level and your sleep time, which right now is set for 2 minutes. I'll pop it up to 30 just so it doesn't time out. But look at these two new things down here. The always time display, that's the one, right, when it's off, that brings up, he says, there it is, this ambient analog watch screen. On all of these new 7.1.1 watches, this is pretty much becoming standard. But that other new thing that we just saw in display called notification bright screen, that's new. This is something that if you have that turned on and you get a push notification, the watch will light up. Yeah, just like if you twisted it to see the time. So no more missing notifications because you didn't feel the vibration or something. You can actually have it set so that you'll be able to see it. Most likely, and this is trailblazing on this particular watch from this particular company, but it's an integrated firmware concept. So most likely we're going to start seeing that show up on future watches. Pretty cool, huh? Now, a couple of other things. Your app list style hasn't changed. Your connection is the same. Gestures are the same. That's where you can have the pedometer count and the screen on when you twist your arm. Power savings is basically the same, and it's showing you your power usage, which we are just screen because that's basically all we're doing. Language and input is pretty much the same. Hasn't changed. You've got your virtual keyboard selection, text output, all of that. Date and time, same. Reset equipment's the same. Uninstall applications. It can actually uninstall the stock applications, at least from view on your watch. If you want to do that, I don't recommend it. You'd have to, go back and factory reset your watch to get them back. But you can. But all of these are specialized apps that are installed as part of your watch from the get-go without having to do anything. And there's quite a few of them in here now. Then you get to more. Now we got something new and more. You got your accounts in Google Play services. That's been the same. Background cleaner is new. This is a battery saver feature that's going to extend the life of your watch when you engage this and you enter the special mode that's going to let it give you longer battery life. So play with that. It's a toggle that goes on and off. And then, and this is really brand new for this watch this week as part of an over-the-air and OTA update that worked on a bug that we had initially with this watch. Well, this is a little gift that goes along with squelching that bug. Pablo 11, our predominant watch expert over on the Pro boards, the RASC, Round Android Smartwatch Community. He's developed a lot of great stuff, and this is a new one. It's called Third Party App Adapter. Now, that's a little tricky to understand, but it kind of applies to a lot of third-party apps that don't display properly on a watch, no matter what. As you know, and I'm going to come back here and deviate for a second, when I press and hold this button, I come up here and I can change the layout of third-party apps to be a square within the circle or full circle, right? You just hit cancel after that and it'll toggle them. But this thing is more. This is something different, and it's a toggle that you can turn on and off as well. That if it's working great and if it's messing things up, you can turn it off. So you have that flexibility. But play with it. It's a new enhancement to help get apps, Android apps, to work well on round screen Android watches. Something super brand new. All the rest of this is the same. We've all seen that stuff before. And then the About the Watch, which is where we get into something really important to go over. Okay. Scroll down on here on your watch when you get it and check the kernel number and the build number. It should be 2019-0115 or newer. If it's not, then it's critical that you watch the video that I've already put up called the Initial Setup Guide. There was a bug in this watch, and the earlier versions with the firmware lower than that had that in it, and this particular firmware fixes it. And it's a real easy fix, and it's a suggestion that you do, even if it's got the correct version in here, follow through that guide and do the steps in the guide before you do anything else, and you'll ensure that your watch is is tip-top ready for you, okay? I'll have a link in the show notes, and probably I'll put a flashing thing up here that you can click on after this video to head over to that one and walk yourself through that initial setup guide for Android watches. It's really beneficial for everybody, for every Android smartwatch, and it's critical for this one if you have a build number that's lower than that number there. Spent a lot of time with a lot of people on that over the past 4 weeks, and we nailed it, man. We nailed it. It's great. Okay, so we've looked at all the apps. We've looked at basically what you've got here in all of your sporting activities and watch faces. We come with a stock set of watch faces. Let's just flip back to them and give you a quick run through. Oh yeah, the camera. I can see so many of you pulling your hair out and dragging your fingers across a chalkboard. Will he talk about the cameras? That's the whole point of this watch. Of course I will, after I give you a quick look at the stock watch faces. We've seen many of these before, but look at this. Look at how nice the edge-to-edge screen layout is. Look at how sweet that subdued bezel is. It's got markings, but it's not like protruding. You got a little bit of writing on the inside edge. It's just beautiful. And then that little central camera at the top and the side camera and the 2 buttons. You want to see the camera? Skip the watch faces. Check it out. Press and hold. Boom, boom, boom. Where am I? There I am. I'm in the camera mode. Wow, that is a bright picture. And I think I'm on the lowest. I'm on the lowest. Did you see the screen change in brightness? That's something I didn't realize. We're on the lowest setting, but when you go into camera, it brightens automatically the screen to total brightest. Wow! So you don't have to worry about it being dim. Okay, so there's my fingers. I'm sorry, they're all washed out. And you see that little icon right there. That's the icon for switching cameras. Now, I can take a picture. Let's take a picture of my hand, just for fun. Okay, we've got it. Now, I'm going to switch here, and hello, it's Mr. Tix. Glad to see you again. And I'm all washed out again. I'm so sorry on the screen, but I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful right there. It's rich color. It's perfect contrast, and it's working really, really well. And see the little square when it thinks I'm a face? It's following me around. There you go. I can take a picture now, too. Ha! There. We got 2 pictures, front and back. Now, here's where I'm talking about this Oh, gosh. Oh, that's horrible. It gets worse. It keeps getting worse. You notice it flipped it too. So you're getting the perspective of, I guess, how somebody would look at you, as opposed to the reverse image you see on the screen. In other words, this is the image how it would come through if you were doing video conferencing with somebody. And my guess is then if you were holding up a piece of paper or some sort of writing, the other person would get it in a way that they could read the writing. It wouldn't look backwards like in a mirror. Well thought out, this thing. Really, really well thought out. But I digress. I want to go into details on here and show you, is that bright enough to see? You see the dimensions of the picture, 1920 by 2560. Multiply that out, you get 5 megapixels, okay? But they're going to be slightly fuzzy. It's perfect on a tiny watch, but on a big, if you blow them up, it's not going to be as clear as if it were a true 5 megapixel camera. It's okay. It's okay. I know, but it's the first attempt at grabbing 2 cameras and putting them in a watch and keeping the costs down, so let's wait for the Plus or the Pro or the Air or something to have the boost up in cameras. But ask for it, guys. Ask for it in the comments. Let them know you want the thing with a better camera. Now, let me tell you a benefit of having the lower resolution camera for the front camera. This thing, when it's communicating, and if you're out and about with the cellular communication, you want that picture to be as small as possible so it doesn't interrupt, right? So you're not going to put 4G or 8G picture quality through a watch and expect it to go very fast because cellular connections are really low. So it is actually beneficial for the front camera to be a 2 megapixel. But I'd really like to see 5 over here if they did that. Is it? Well, there's my hand. This is that side picture. Here's the details, and it's, again, the same thing. So it's also a 2 megapixel up interpolated to 5 megapixels on the side. Not horrible. We've seen it in every watch except for a couple of them that actually are using the higher camera. It's workable. It's workable by today's technology. And we got to that simply by pushing this button, or you could go to the apps and all of that stuff. But I did it that way so that I could quickly continue showing you the rest of the watch faces that come stock with it. They're standard ones. I'm just showing you the thumbnail. There's a nice digital one. We haven't seen many digitals on here. And look at how that integrates so nicely with this watch. It's like it's made for it, isn't it? I forget who did this. Whoever did this is a long time ago, and it's almost like they had this watch in mind way, way back then. All right, we've got a bunch more. This is the cover one that we've seen. That was the little stick-on label, wasn't it? Yeah, that's exactly that particular watch face. It's truly on this watch. And then they got wild because this thing came out around Christmas time. So we got all of the Christmas faces that we had in the server that you could download over Christmas. They're actually installed in this watch. So you don't have to worry about Christmas next year, but you do have to worry about them all being there in the summertime. This is a DIY thing. Then bring your own bottle. I don't know. You can put in a background picture that you take with your cameras or send into the watch, however you get it there. You can use your own background picture and place a digital time somewhere around the watch to accent your picture and make your own watch face right here in the watch itself. Nice little additional feature. And then this very end, when we're on Wi-Fi, you hit the plus sign and you can get into the server and download to your heart's content a variety of different watch faces. Just remember, always, whenever you do that, to come back and hit this little circular button, and that actually reloads the directory of all of your watch faces so you can make sure you don't end up with a bricked watch. Yeah, it's happened before. It gets out of sync, and then you bring up a watch face, and it just doesn't work. And when you reboot it, it won't load because it can't load the watch face, and you're stuck. So you have to end up like flashing the watch. But that shouldn't be a consideration, especially anytime you put in custom faces through the plus sign or through connecting and moving in custom faces, which you can easily do on this watch. You'll see that in the next video on this one. You can do that and then again hit that plus sign, and that will allow you to reset everything so it works perfectly. Okay, by way of summary, this is the ZEBLAZE Thor 4 Dual 4G Android 7.1.1 dual camera high-end special Android standalone smartwatch phone. And it's available to us from AliExpress, directly from the ZEBLAZE store. And the last thing I want to say on this, I'm in the process right now of assessing 4G on all of these Android watches. It's a heck of a project. I'm literally taking them 2 by 2 all the way down 10 minutes from now to my post office, which is where the AT&T tower is, and I'm testing them, and I'm really working them, and I'm checking them to make sure they're getting 4G, and not all of them do, even though they say they will, and when they do get it, that it's decent. Then I'm trying it here at home, which you've seen before, where it's marginal at best. I get 1 to 2 bars. Does it still hold 4G? None of them do. Does it default okay to 3G? Do you get decent throughput? A little bit. And then this one came along. This one is 4G. It's really 4G. I got 4G at home. I got 4G on the road. I got 4G at the AT&T tower. And it passed my haystack test. That you're going to learn about soon. We'll see you again. Thanks for watching.